I've known Virginia Erlingson since long before I was a physician. She was the night supervisor when I got here 30 years ago as a physician. And at that point, we were all taking our own call and we had very few subspecialists. I sleep very hard, and everybody knows that. And there were no cell phones back then. And for whatever reason, my phone didn't wake me up. So in the middle of the night, I hear a siren in my front yard, and there was a police car with the lights on. And a friend of mine was at the door, worked for the sheriff's department, says, Virginia Erlingson's been trying to get in touch with you all night long. Would you please call her? And so I did. She was just an amazing nurse because she just thought outside the box to do something like that. I mean, who would think of calling the police to go wake a doctor up?
I'm Virginia Erlingson. I was night supervisor for most of my time at Opelousas General. I started at Opelousas General in February of 1958. I started to work with the Sisters of the Marian Knights because the only one that stayed that was here in the beginning was Sister Madeline, and Sister Mary Rose was there shortly thereafter. There was two from up east that were here until Sister Bonaventure came, and she stayed for about a year before the other sisters came back from New Orleans to operate the different areas. Sister Alpin was in surgery, and Sister Mary Grace was on the floor, and they worked shifts just like us.
I believe she started each day with the question, what can I do to provide care, comfort, and love to everyone she came in contact with? If I had to sum up Virginia, I would reference Florence Nightingale. She did everything she could to make sure that her patients had what they took to get well. She always had a cute story to tell about one of her children. Their accomplishments in life were definitely an extension of her.
Some of my earliest memories are Opelousas General. There's a story that's told that my mom gave birth to me 3 days later, put me in a laundry basket, brought me to the hospital, dropped me in the nursery, and went back to work.
No matter what was going on patient-wise, you could always rely on Miss Virginia. She would be right there by your side. She appreciated the employees, and even though she ran a tight ship, if you did your work, she was always there behind your back.
You know, Virginia's an old school nurse. She always put the patients first, and you gotta realize night supervisors also are like the administration at night because there's usually no administrators there. And she would just make decisions based on the care of the patient as being the most important thing in the world, and you know, the reality it is.
Now understand, Virginia was strict. She wanted it done correct. There was a patient that she was dealing with, and there was no room for error when you were dealing with Virginia Erlingson.
Working as a nurse was more than just a job. It was more than just a profession. It was part of her DNA. Her mom loved to work, she loved patient care, she loved and lived and breathed at Opelousas General. You know, she also lived and breathed her family and made sure that we were healthy, happy, and involved. You know, she taught us to work hard, play hard, and how to prioritize those two things in our lives. And that was all part of her being at the hospital, part of her dedication to patient care, and her dedication to family.
If there was a hurricane, we had to bring our families to the general so that there'd be enough people to take care of the patients that were brought in.
Virginia had a way of bringing all the clinical departments and nursing together to work for that patient.
She always called everyone dear. So she'd walk up to the nurse's station and she'd look at somebody sitting, wasting time, and she'd say, dear, are you finished your work already? And they'd say, yes, ma'am. And she was like, okay, come with me. We're gonna go check your rooms and make sure they're clean.
My cousin's wife delivered a baby, and I was the acting pediatrician, and the baby was extremely sick with pneumonia right at birth. And Virginia came into the nursery and helped me stabilize the baby, put the baby on a ventilator, and eventually shipped the baby out. And I mean, her skills ranged from the elderly to the very young.
The people I worked with were like a family.
So Virginia's the kind of person that's just always giving. She has two great hobbies. One, she sews immaculately, and then she bakes goods. So every year for Christmas, I get a handmade item from her of some sort. And I see her about once a week. She cooks me 2 loaves of bread and a pineapple upside down cake just about every week.
In my mom's case, they had no family here. They both came from elsewhere and had no one close here, so the nuns and the nurses and the staff at Opelousas General became their family and their support system.
I am honored and feel very humble about this award because I feel that even though Opelousas General was my home away from home, I don't think I really feel like I deserve any accolades. And I want to thank administration for the honor. I'd like to thank Opelousas General Health System, the Board of Trustees, and the Opelousas General Foundation for the award.